Okay.
Hello,
Oh,
everybody. I believe we are officially live. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Hello, good to be here with you all. And today is our third panel on Glastonbury. Our conference is coming up on Glastonbury, August 11th to 13th of this year. We are less than a month away. And we've just been kind of having a lot of fun having these panels and discussing the experience that we're all going to be embarking on together. The last couple of panels really hyped me up. I've been really excited about this event in general, and but the panels that we've done have created a different synergy. Not only are we here to inform you of what is going to be occurring and also provide relevant information for this moment. It's not just about come to this event, it's about what's going on now and how we can utilize this. For example, last week we spoke about the goddess energy and the divine feminine energy, which is connected to Glastonbury, but it's definitely not about just attending that conference, which is just this this energy that is important for this awakening that is going on right now. And we were specifically speaking about the different kind of feminine energies that were in Glastonbury and how us going into there is tapping into that collective field. And so today we have some more guests, some more panelists that are going to be speakers at this conference. And I kind of want to just go around. Actually, first, let me start off by just telling you how this event came about, because for a lot of you, maybe you haven't seen some of my other shows where I was speaking about it. But the reason why we're doing an event in Glastonbury and the way it came out is 8 months ago, I came and visited England for the first time by myself as a sovereign adult, I'll say, because I was born in England. I moved to California when I was 12, and I've come back many times with my family. I came back here with my ex-wife. We had a whole huge Indian marriage over here, wedding over here. And when I got divorced a year and a half ago, I really felt a calling to go back to the place I was born, which I am at right now. I'm in London, and go there as my own sovereign adult without anybody else as an expectation, and just explore the ancient history of UK by myself. And as I was doing that, I started in London from my hometown, and then I went all the way around, to Glastonbury, to Bristol, to Manchester, to Leicester. And when I got to Glastonbury, I put in the Telegram group, the Portal Ascension Telegram group, and I said, hey guys, I am in Glastonbury. Are there any people in Portal Ascension Telegram group that is there? And one person answered, and she's also going to be a presenter at this conference. Her name's Isma, and she said yes. And she cooked me lunch. We went to the Abbey and we hung out there. And she said, you should really think about doing a Portal to Ascension event in Glastonbury. And I never even had the idea or thought of doing it, even though I wanted to do an event in England eventually. And I said, well, if you go around town and you check out all the venues and find a place for me and, really scope it out, and we find some place good, I'll do a one-day workshop here. So it started out like that. And we ended up doing, creating that one-day workshop, one-day conference, if you will. And then all of a sudden, all these presenters that I'm connected with, including Laura Eisenhower, Magenta Pixie, Rob Potter, and many others started contacting me and saying, I heard Portal to Ascension is doing an event in Glastonbury. Do you have more space for, us to be a part of it? And that event turned from a one-day event to a 4-day epic experience. So not only do we have 3 days of the conference, but we also have on Thursday, August 10th, we have a full day of a tour going on. We are going to be setting our attention at the tour in the morning, not the TOUR, but the TOR, which is a place in Glastonbury that has a lot of ancient history there.
Test.
And we're going to be really making this event super intentional and connecting to the ley line energy there. And not only providing information and awareness, but utilizing this as a grid working event. This is a grid working event. So we're going to go around just in a moment here. I want to get into what grid working is a little bit for me, later down the line. But I want to first start out with introducing to you guys once again to my two really, really good friends, and also the other two hosts and MCs of this event, who have not only helped me produce it, but have been just like a huge part of everything we're doing at Portal to Ascension. So I kind of want to start with you, Joan, if you want to take it over here and just tell us what you're feeling about the event, where you're at.
Well, the moment you mentioned that you were going to do an event in Glastonbury, I was over the top. I love Glastonbury. I had a major awakening when I was there. That was in 2006, 2015. I went back twice because I loved it so much. And when I was there, I could feel my ancient roots. I could feel myself having walked there in different lifetimes, a priestess from Avalon, a Druid. Just, I could feel the magic of the trees, the little people, the fairies, the elves, all of that. And it was the most magical city I had ever been in. So and I promised myself I would come back. And for me to go back with all of you guys who are on the panel with me and other speakers there, people I know, is like soul family for me. And it literally makes my heart sing. So if you haven't heard your heart sing, I mean, I feel like my heart has been singing. Every panel makes me feel this way, but just like that's how I'm feeling. So I'm feeling that way about Glastonbury. I think it's going to be a great event. And I'm just happy to be part of it.
I haven't been this excited. You know, I get excited for a lot of events, but the excitement for this one is really a whole new level of excitement, because I feel that we're all on a pilgrimage, because we're coming from around the world, right? And it's like we're all going on an ancient pilgrimage to meet in Glastonbury to do something great. And as Oliver said in our panel a few weeks ago, that we're not even 100% sure what we're going to be cultivating there, but something is going to be created just from the presence of everybody that attends. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I think there's no better time and no better place to do a conference like this than what we'll be doing in August, especially around the anniversary of the harmonic convergence, where a lot of the shifts of reality began in 1987. Of course, we progressed 2012 and onward, but bringing out the divine feminine. You know, the Native Americans say a bird can't fly with only one wing, and we've been flying our civilization just on the masculine, just on that logical, linear reality. So the feminine needs to be welcomed. I mean, I'm sure everyone here is in agreement, but we need that piece of ourselves that have been severed from our own consciousness. It's so important that this happens here at a vital portal where it can emanate out to the rest of the chakra centers throughout the planet. So as the goddess arises, the divine masculine can arise, because it can't arise without relationship to the other, to the union, to the complement, to the unification of communion of a higher consciousness. So as the goddess arises, and as men start to realize the true nature of what it is to be in relationship with that, then the world can change. And it's not just the earth goddess mother, it's the sky, it's the ET, it's the interdimensional realities that we can start to tap into, because that is what the feminine part of awakening is all about. It's about the higher consciousness. It's about non-linear reality. It's about who we really are. We are living inside the mother. These earth bodies are the mother, but we're also ascending in consciousness to this other level as this next dimensional reality comes in. So I'm really excited about all the beautiful people here and where we're going collectively, and the importance of us gathering. So thank you, everyone, for being here.
You know,
Was
so
that
what
too
we're going to do
passionate?
today in this panel is we're going to go around a few times here, and I want to do it like, you know, how I love to do panels on Portals Ascension is I like to provide relevant information for, you know, what is going on now, and or just information and awareness. So not only are we going to go around and to speak about our excitement about what we're going to be creating together, also what we're going to share, but I want to go around maybe the last time we go around and just check in with each one of you guys and see what is relevant for you now, what you're seeing in the collective field, what you want to contribute to not only this experience, but just what you want to share with whoever's tuning in. Right. And this event, yeah, you're going to say something.
No, I was just testing. No, go ahead. No, keep going.
So this event has so many different aspects. This, guys, is the Portal to Ascension conference, and we do around 110 events a year. And, you know, we do Atlantis event, we did the Stargates event last weekend, all these really specific niche events. The Portal to Ascension event is the signature event of Portal to Ascension, because what Ascension represents, you know, a lot of people have their own theories on what it is. I feel Ascension is everything. Ascension is to the walk I take outside. Ascension is extraterrestrials. Ascension is disclosure. Ascension is exposing conspiracies, because ultimately the ascension is us shifting into our higher octave of existence. us riding the cycles of time into the new wave that is coming, to the new cycle that is dawning on this planet. So all experiences are moving us towards that. So the Portal to Ascension Conference is truly a collective event of many different aspects. The amount of awareness that is going to be shared there is going to be so profound and so multifaceted that we really can't even go into the specific topics that are going to be shared, because there aren't just a few. There's going to be a lot of different aspects and awareness that will be shared there. So we're going to go around the panel in a second and just, kind of go into what that is. And I just wanted to kind of piggyback on what Alan said about divine masculine and the divine feminine. This energy of the feminine energy really transcends gender, right? It comes down and physically personifies as these beings that are maybe more connected to that energy rather than a man who might connect to the masculine energy. But it's really about the nurturing energy, the creative energy, the intuition, all these aspects that we want to embrace and embody into our life. So what I want for this event, I was talking to Laura about an hour ago, that this event is a nurturing event for us. This is not only for the people attending to get replenished and rejuvenated, but it's also for the speakers that are attending. It's for us to come together as a collective and not have to live that, stressed out kind of mentality, going from event to event and really just showing up on that level, but really taking in the energies to nourish all of us so that we can go out and do some good work in the world afterwards, right? All right, so I want to go ahead and start. And let's just start with you, Zoe. And what I love to do is what Joan started doing lately is having, after you're done speaking, Zoe, if you want to just choose the next person, and then we can just go around in a circle like that. So Zoe, over to you. Are you with us?
Unmute.
Oh, you're muted, Zoe.
Testing. Firstly, I'm so blessed and excited to be with you all in my homelands. I have a big connection to Glastonbury ever since I was a little baby, and I've been going there every year and walking the tour and drinking the water and being at the festival. Some of my earliest childhood memories are being in Glastonbury. I spent an extensive amount of time when I was younger living quite close to Glastonbury in Somerset and also in Bristol. So I've taken many, many, many people there over the years that have never been before. And it's just always such a gift to witness the transformations in others and in myself when I visit the sites. Like, it really is such a powerful and healing place that works its magic exactly how it needs to. And even walking the tour is a pilgrimage in itself, right? And so I witnessed so many people walking up, and then the difference in their energy when they're walking down afterwards. Their hearts are open, they're smiling. It really is, and I've traveled pretty extensively to quite a lot of places, and a lot of very powerful and actively charged sacred sites in the world. And there's nothing compared to Glastonbury in terms of its power and potency, but also the stillness. I find that it really invites us into a deeper anchoring of a rested nervous system, of a regulated nervous system. And then the mysteries that open up from that, all of these interdimensional portals that you get to experience just walking around. And so I'm really excited to be with you all and see everyone's individual experiences. And we are on the high street as well, which is a mini portal within itself. And I love the work that we are going to be doing there together and weaving our magic through our collective intentions and prayers and things. So yeah, really excited. I've been recently called back to Glastonbury, having been away for the last 4 years and spending a significant amount of time there right now compared to previous years. And it's really needing me to anchor there. So welcoming you all into that beautiful space. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm just excited to share what wants to come through over that weekend and be with everybody. And I know that Neil and Joan and Alan create impeccable experiences and create amazing connections and community. And the summer in the UK is a great time to visit. The flowers are out, the people's hearts are open, the weather is relatively better than the rest of the year. I'm not going to say it's going to be sunny, but it's relatively more manageable than the rest of the year. And So yeah, I would say anyone that's feeling kind of on the fence of coming, just follow your heart and come, because I really feel that there'll be something magical to open up, and come with no expectations, and the land will bless you. The collective frequency of all of us coming together will bless each other. So yeah, that's it really. Thank you. And so to choose somebody else, I'm going to choose Laurie.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm so glad to be here and grateful and looking forward to this. I think it's going to be so awesome. For those of you who might not know me, what I love what Neil just said about where we're going and what we're doing is about creating space for us to really, sink into the experience of this, or that's my words, but what I interpreted. And I think that's really, to me, what Ascension is the primary part of Ascension, is about really coming home to self as one, as you in union with source and all that is. And we can only do that through the ultimate portal. The ultimate portal is through our sacred heart center. And so to me, that's really what I'm about, is helping people and supporting people in their journey to real, true fulfillment, divine fulfillment, which is not something we can just talk about through the brain. And it's not something we can learn about through listening necessarily, although we certainly can learn about it that way. But it's about shifting from the reptilian brain into the wholeness and the fullness, the totality of who we are, where we're more embodying energetic frequency and consciousness, and where we start behaving in accordance with the true divine virtues, which are our real birthright. And I believe that at certain portal spots, and interestingly about Glastonbury is that it's not just a portal, it's a stargate. And a lot of people don't know the difference between those two things. There is a very big difference between a portal and a stargate. Portals are all over the world. Stargates, there are very few. Stargates are real openings to other worldly realms that exist in a tangible and real way. Portals are energetic frequencies, vibrations shift and change and can be transmuted and are accelerated and amplified. Magical, mystical things can happen there. However, they are not necessarily stargate. They are definitely not necessarily stargates to other physical types of realms where we can have physical interactions with other physical kinds of other types of beings that are beyond Earth, beyond our earthly world. So that's what's so amazing about Glastonbury. Now, the thing is, when you combine this aspect of being in a Stargate location with, grid work that you were speaking about, Neil, and also the potential for humans to experience themselves in a whole new way, beyond reptilian brain learning, analyzing, researching, dialoguing, experiential transformation from within. That's what I'm speaking about. For me, my mission and purpose in these communities has always been spiritually aligned, to help people come into alignment with their source, the source within, which is what brings forward real, true love. This is not about conversations and pretense. This is not about pretending to be kind to someone when you're not. The divine virtues are embodiment of the highest and purest qualities of being. And those are within us. And we understand on planet Earth that we've been running and living and operating where we have been, we don't necessarily need to go into all the storyline of it at the moment, but we've been operating and been, overseen by a negative alien agenda that promotes war and fighting and does not promote love and peace. And love and peace, it's not just something that we can learn from the brain, it's something we can embody and bring in and through us. Once we start doing that energetically for ourselves, we become solution for the whole of humanity. We transmute some of the things you were talking about, the change that we're looking for at the onset of our call before we officially started. We were talking about some of the financial issues. Some of that's going on Earth right now is linked into the extreme greed. That's not a divine virtue. So when we start coming in through the heart center, we transmute that kind of so-called negative alien programming of greed and benefit at the harm or detriment of another. We transmute that to what we're all promoting here, what we're all really interested in here is for the highest, most benevolent, best of all. And we develop the divine virtue of equanimity. That is a true divine virtue where we understand equanimity means all can benefit with harm to none. So this is part of what I'm bringing forward. My whole purpose and mission always has been true divine spiritual alignment, and not as much about the sensationalism. I'm not as much about, but what I love about Neil and this group and what we bring forward is that true desire to make real transformational change for ourselves, for one another, for the attendees at the event, and ultimately for the whole of humanity. That's why I'm attending. That's why I'm committed. That's why I love coming to Neil's events, because what's so unique, in my opinion, about Neil as an event host, and also about the various Ascension, Portal to Ascension events, is that that underlying current is real, true, and authentic. And I love that. I honor that. And I think that's where we get to make change. And I believe that the true change for humanity is through spiritual alignment with our own divine source, in the recognition of that source embodying in and through us. So that is what I'm bringing, and that's what I'll be sharing, more of that. And I love to talk about grid work as well, especially in a location where there is a real and true Stargate. Incredible. And that's an exciting thing to be sharing as well. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. That's what I'm contributing at this moment.
It is, Lori. Thank you so much. And I feel the same way about you and your work. You know, I feel like it's a really good collaboration, and I'm just excited to have you on all of our events. What we do together and what we're creating is truly like, it just fills up my soul. So thank you for being there at this event and all your help throughout the years.
Thank you.
Do you want to choose the next person?
Pick someone.
Yeah, go ahead.
Viviane.
Thank you, Lori. Thank you, everybody. It is wonderful to be here with all of you. I am settling into my schedule. I just came back from Costa Rica, where I was co-hosting a beautiful spiritual retreat with the Stargate group. So we just came back, so I'm still like vibrating with the energy of that blue zone. Speaking of grids energy, I must say though, that Glastonbury and England overall have a really, really deep place in my heart. If you look at on a planetary level, right into the heart center, the heart chakra of Mother Gaia. So definitely bringing the energy there has a very unique vibrational field, a resonance. There's a lot of things that Lori, you just said, I completely resonate with you and what you share about the grids, different with portals, and allowing ourselves to realign ourselves with who we really are. I read a quote recently, I think it was by Cryon, if I remember correctly, and it was about just be mindful of what you fall for versus what you fell in alignment with your higher self. And that's really important moving forward, to stay anchored in our light, to allow ourselves to detach, unwind from that brain-mind connection that humanity overall for generation has been programmed into, and that really anchors them into that three-dimensional matrix reality and everything that's been going on. I've seen it in Costa Rica, for example, a beautiful, magnificent place with blue zone energy, longevity, grids, and all of that, but at the same time, the coexistence of the 3D reality of polarity, poverty consciousness, and all that energy still coexisting. So it is fascinating for us to watch the coexistence like a pendulum swing between third dimensional matrix reality and as we're shifting into a more fifth dimensional way of living. A little fun fact for all of us is when I was driving or on the way from the airport to the retreat center where we were, there was about 3 hours drive to get there. And so in 3 hours, I've seen a lot of things on the way: housing, children, dogs on the street, animals flat down, all kinds of things. So what I did is that I asked everything I was seeing, I said, reveal to me the fifth dimensional way of living. reveal the fifth dimensional way of living. And I was doing that, anchoring those points all the way into the center. And when we left 8 days later from the center, 3 hours back to the airport, I've done the same thing all the way back, is reveal to me the fifth dimensional reality. So we can transcend these programming on the third dimensional fragmented reality that we're still, so many people are still moving out. So moving into complete alignment, learning to rediscovering who we are, getting in touch into eventually our own avatar of light within ourselves and who we are. It's going to be absolutely paramount for especially what's coming through between now and even the fall equinox. So definitely Glastonbury, Neil, Joan, and Alan, you definitely putting a tour de force there to bring in at this point, a very important point. Plus, we're going to be right into the Lionsgate portal energies, right into the heart center of the planet in Glastonbury, with all the ancient site, inviting the galactic realm, the galactic fairy realms, and all the dimensional reality coexisting with us. So we're shifting into a more multidimensional way of living. And what does it mean to live in a multidimensional ways? What does it mean to implement a fifth dimensional way of living? So these are kind of all these aspects we're going to talk about and see how we can implement them to really helping us to move more with ease and grace into that shift, rather to get caught up into the mental energies with all the disclosure and thing coming and all this swirl of this dust coming to the surface, how we can navigate through all of it in the ease and grace of our being and implement a whole different level of reality. So what I've just did in practical ways in Costa Rica, I have implemented, or at least initiated, an implementation of a fifth dimensional way of living in the grids there for people, for the animal kingdom, for the land, talking with
Sound
Gaia
of freedom.
consciousness.
That hole just gets deeper and deeper.
And all of it as we move forward. So really excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And of course,
Beautiful.
Laura. Yeah, thank you, Ellen.
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful.
Wow. It's just incredible to hear what everybody has to share. And it's just amazing to be going to this event, particularly it being hosted by Portal to Ascension and Neil Gar and all of you, Joan of Angels and Alan, being the hosts, and all the guests, that these incredible speakers that I've come to know over the years. I just feel this is like a family reunion on a soul family level, that we are just gathering together with such similar callings that we've just stayed so true to. I mean, I was born in England as well as Neil, and I haven't gone back since my granny passed away. And it's been since my early 20s, and that's like almost 30 years ago. And with all my travels, it's amazing that I haven't even been able to go back to England. And yeah, just, being born there and traveling a lot of the country and really feeling into the energies of places like Glastonbury and Avebury and the ley lines and Stargate energies around that. You could really just feel into just those past lives and that connection, but also just in the world that we're in today, how much that isn't like present in people's awareness, and how much the infiltration and social engineering and patriarchal agendas connected to negative alien agendas and Saturn moon matrix influences of, sort of this false king of tyranny, outer authority, false parent that has influenced humanity to create a sort of codependency bond to an inverted system, has taken us away from all that, particularly targeting our ability to understand things like sacred union, hierogamic union, and what the rest of our DNA holds. It's like we've just been thrown programmings and distortions and learned about, junk DNA in our science classes, and a rewritten history where everything else is sort of legend or fantasy, or just sort of lost to us. I mean, it might be there on some level, but not to the degree that I think those of us that are soul centered would be, tapping into. And I just felt just the energies of like Guinevere and King Arthur and Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and the Shiva Shakti and all these, energies that represented sacred union as this awakening template within ourselves that, we need to rediscover and activate. And through connecting with the land in this way, and it's like it's a meeting of, that's the soul part of yourself that holds those memories and carries that divine inheritance and that divine blueprint that, this planetary grid system holds, as well as we're a replica of it. And all the dark technologies that have put reversal grid energies in and created all sorts of manipulations that have made it very, very difficult for humans to be born into this world, holding this, remembrance has been something to be healed and restored in these particular areas. And I feel that those of us that have felt this calling to stay true to finding that integration of polarity within and seeing through the programmings and distortions enough to be able to steer clear of it and find each other to present material that helps to ignite, this awakening to the fullness of all that we really are and what our true origins are and what the mother energy is all about, has been the most important thing. And, when we look at the land and what that area is all about and the return to the mother, it's like the maiden mother crone, the creative cauldron of transformation, going into the mother womb to die and be reborn, understanding how this is all a part of our own process when we go into the dark night of the soul, or we go into this space of initiation, that we're here to just, die and be reborn in the unconditional love of the mother energy that helps us to, grow and transform and move through all these different cycles and changes in our lives. And our culture and societies have not held much space for that. We have these holidays that sort of overlay on top of these, significant cycles that we experience within our own being when we go from season to season, going from like the winter and the Samhain energy of the crone into the spring, into the maiden, into the summer, into the fall, and all these different archetypes of the mother energy and the path of the divine feminine and that whole journey. It's just like, we have to remember that that's always going on within us. And if we don't acknowledge it, we sort of miss out on what it provides. And it's just, we're not in a world that is honoring of that. And it's been lost to our consciousness in so many ways. And I've just felt a tremendous amount of sort of attack and attention on me since I was born. And it was always brought to my attention that it had something to do with all of this. And even to this day, like, I'm struggling to, hold myself in balance and in strength and in wholeness. And just feeling just this next level of just wanting to take humanity down a completely different trajectory, that it's like we're the warriors and forces of this world that are not going to submit to that and are going to continue to hold space for these activations and in just coming together and supporting one another in regenerating and healing and releasing ourselves from maybe the empathic overload, which I often feel, and just, the overwhelm of it all, just to just bask in that energy and just come home again and just feel those memories again, and also release any traumas connected to how much that's been targeted and manipulated on the land in these particular areas and how that has impacted the whole of humanity that has been born with so much amnesia that, most partnerships aren't playing out, a sacred union bond, or that greater inner work or acknowledgement of what it means to just be together in sacred union, alchemical marriage, hierogamic union. And it's just, we've been plagued with a lot of, distortions that have also been providing lessons for our awakening, where we see that we can grow with one another and work on those wounds together until it doesn't make sense anymore, and find that we're still on that path of finding that first starts within, because it's just really about that integration of polarity within and doing that greater healing within. But having a conscious partner that can do that with you, I think, is what we're called to find in our lives, whether it lasts forever or not. We're on a journey, just as Mother Earth is, of returning this template, this sacred union. I've done a lot of presentations with Portal to Ascension about our DNA holding this greater love story, that in doing this integration of polarity and bringing the masculine and feminine together, the divine masculine, feminine together in union, this is breaking free from the distortions of this relationship model that has been patriarchal, or about the suppression of the mother energy, or the loss of the true teachings of the Essenes of what it means to become a Christed individual, and to really, live in that hierogamic union that is what serves the people and nourishes, like, the kingdom, the elemental kingdoms, and how that is a part of the fairy realms and the elves. And there's just so much that I was so absorbed in all my life and growing up, in the art and in the books and in all these, memories of the Holy Grail and Joseph of Arimathea and just everything about Glastonbury, that it's like my soul has been screaming and crying to go back there, because I'm personally at a critical place in my own life that if I don't return to that, and I'm not around soul family to sort of heal and regenerate with, and just reconnect with, I don't know what I would do. So it's nothing but an incredible opportunity for all of us to delve deep into all of this. And I know for me, I'm just probably going to release a whole lot, because you can probably tell I'm holding an incredible amount of tension in my body, working on my book that's been 12 years coming, that has to do with everything about the mother, and just and Glastonbury being just the heart of the goddess, and those ley lines connected to this hierogamic union and sacred union that has been so tampered with, that when we do grid work, we're holding, the original energies that, together with the memories of that land and what it holds, can make a reconnection that helps to correct any kind of reversals or distortions or overlays that have made it difficult for that energy to run fluidly and in the way that it should flow in the energetic circulation of the planetary grid network of the true Gaia matrix. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm just going to dive into just all of this when I do my talk, just the many different archetypes of the maiden, mother, and crone, and the labyrinth, and dying and being reborn, and how that breaks frequency fences and blockages within us in order to rediscover the fullness of our multidimensional selves. And that when we, die, we just let go of a part of ourselves that doesn't serve us anymore, maybe a belief system or a relationship or something that is a gatekeeper that represents an initiation that we're ready to break through, but we sort of die and let it compost into the soil, so that we're reborn in the spring after planting a seed of the next vision, because we're growing, because we're thriving, instead of, digressing and losing ourselves to anything outside of us that wants us to forget who we truly are and why we're here.
Thanks so much, Laura. Yeah, I resonate hardcore with everything you said, but definitely the whole reversal grid, like we're reversing the reversal, right? And it's interesting because if you look at the cycles of time, you know, the Yuga cycles, every ancient civilization pre 5,000 years ago talked about time being secular, right? Because it seemed like there was two floods, one around 5,000 years ago, where after that we started a linear trajectory. And then from 12,000 to 5,000 years ago, there were all these ancient cultures that still maintained the secular understanding, but had an ancient memory of a great flood that took place, right? That something happened to reset us. We were advanced at one point. Then all of a sudden there was just linear trajectory that occurred. And all these ancient civilizations speak about these ages, you know, the Greeks, the Hebrews, the Israelites, and, you know, in China. And only one of them had the dates in India. The rest of them talked about, like the Greeks, for example, they talked about the type of man that existed in each age, right? Rather than the dates. And the Indians came up with a theme for the age that we were in, okay? And they called it the age of delusion, right? So that is the reversal. We've been in this age of delusion. And the reversal to the reversal is, instead of what's right is wrong, you know, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Like we are basically correcting the delusion is what's going on right now. And I'm needing to get deep into how we've been in that for quite some time. Laura, you want to say something on that? You're about to say something or not? Okay.
Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you.
Oops, sorry. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I always have something to say if you want me to share next. I don't know if you were asking
Yeah,
about.
well, I'd love for you to maybe say something for a minute here, because I called you on anyway energetically, and I want to go over some history of Avalon, and then we're gonna go around again. So go ahead, share.
So did you want me to talk about, what did you want me to focus on?
Well, if you want, I'll just finish the history, then we can start with you.
Then please do. I didn't have an, I didn't mean that I had anything.
All
I
right.
didn't mean to interrupt if I did.
So, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spend 5 minutes here, then we're gonna go around one last time. And you know, all of you guys bring such a different element of a different dimension of the awakening, because there's many pathways to the same destination. And that's the cool thing, is that we all have our own ways to this awakening. And that's why we do these events. So we have so many different perspectives, and whatever resonates with you, resonates with you. So when we go around for the final time, I would love for you guys, based on your own work, whatever you're doing right now, what's relevant for you, just go ahead and give us you know, a direct channeling of that awareness. And I know Viviane, you do transmissions, and Laura, you do them as well, Zoe. So whoever wants to offer transmission, we'll close it out like that, you know, as well as Joan and Alan. So I'm gonna do just 5 minutes here, and we'll do that. And this is on the history, because, you know, guys, I'm super into the history, and part of why I'm doing this event here is because of my somewhat awareness and my research on the history of the Celtic and the Druid people. So I want to kind of just talk about that for a second. So the history of let's just go back really far, shall we? Let's go back to like 10,000 BC. There is an ancient culture on the steppes of Eurasia, right? These individuals were the original people that went into Europe, went down into Anatolia, went into Greece eventually, went down into India, went into the Indus Valley civilization, and intermingled with the indigenous cultures at those times. But this culture was so strong, so powerful, and they had also mastered the art of utilizing horses in order to go across long distances and domesticating horses, that they overpowered a lot of the indigenous cultures. So much so that they even overpowered them with their own language. These individuals spoke something called Proto-Indo-European. They went down, they took their language with them, they took their gods with them, which is a really huge component here, started going around all over Europe and Anatolia, and not quite yet into the Indus Valley, but they eventually went there as well. And as they were doing this and taking their awareness with them, they stayed pretty connected for quite some time. But after a few hundred years, these tribes began becoming so independent from each other and being self-governed that their languages began fragmenting off into different languages. Eventually we get Italic language, we get Indo-European language, we get Visigoth language, we get all these languages that were based on the original Indo-European language. And as this was happening, you know, I'm telling you guys more than you need to know. I'm just so into this stuff. As this was happening, elements of reality that they discovered while they're in those new places became the new words that were not a part of the original Indo-European. So if you look at the languages, and a lot of the words that are completely different are words of things that they didn't discover until they actually went and inhabited those areas. Okay, now fast forward, because we're getting to the Celtic awareness here. Fast forward, now we have Celtic tribes with this Indo-European language all the way from Anatolia, all the way into to Denmark area and to Amsterdam, where Netherlands are. Around 1000 BC, we have an influx of Celtic people into England. And then around 500 BC, there was another influx. However, not until the Romans came about. When the Romans came about and they started, trying to conquer all the Celtic tribes, there was a huge exodus of many individuals and tribes from mainland Europe into England. And then we had the Romans attacking them over there. And then in the 5th century AD, we start having the Germanic tribes attacking them over there. Okay, why am I telling you all this? Because what eventually happened was that the last stronghold of the Druidic and the Celtic people, right? There was a little area in France, which is why the Visigoth and the French language is so different than all of Latin America, because they kept the Celtic roots hardcore for quite some time. But in Cornwall, in Scotland, in Ireland, and in Glastonbury and Wales was the last stronghold of the Druids, right, and the Celtic people. And so they maintained their rituals for so long, even so much that when they were forced to convert to Christianity, they continued doing everything in hiding. And they were so strong because there was, as Lori has said, which is a segue into what she was sharing, there is a Stargate there, an energy there, a portal. Even the stories of Avalon, the Lady of the Lake that we've heard in the King Arthur story, all from Glastonbury and Avalon, because it was at one point surrounded by water, right? So it was the island of Avalon. Even all these stories, Avalon supposedly was actually through another dimensional portal in Glastonbury and was a higher dimensional version of that area. The stories of fairies, elementals, they were from all over Europe, but the terms that we have, the term fairy, the term elemental, the term pixie, all of those things really originated in Cornwall and in Glastonbury area, so that not only is it a portal to this other reality where we have, Avalon, but we also have the stories of a portal into the elemental kingdom, which was a kingdom that we once used to live with on Earth, that our frequencies became so separated, kind of like Lord of the Rings, where the elves were in their own dimensional reality, that our frequency became so separated that we stopped interacting with these other creatures that maintain this harmonic frequency and this harmonic vibration. So now we move into this reality, to this now, moving into this higher octave existence, changing from one cycle into another cycle. And what's going to happen is the realities that exist all around us that we aren't able to see very soon to not so very soon, but within our linear future, we're going to shift into a reality where we start perceiving all that is around us. Not only does that include these elemental beings, but that also includes extraterrestrials, interdimensional beings, UFOs that have phased out of reality and dimensions. So what we're doing with all of the events that we create, but especially with what's going on with Glastonbury here, is we're tapping into that frequency, we're tapping into heart chakra to be one of the many people that have gone there to do the grid work in order to reverse the reversal grid, so that we can move out of this age of delusion and really shift into something that is better for all of humanity, right? The people are suffering on this planet. There really is no reason for this to happen. We have the technology, we have the knowledge, we have the psychological books on how to navigate the human conscious from babies, right? But we don't do it. Why? Why don't we do what we know we can utilize in order to help humanity have a fulfilled, abundant life? It's not like we don't have the answers, we do have them. So what we're doing here is just encouraging these answers to becoming part of reality, and also educating, re-educating, remembering this information within ourselves, so we can tap into the innate knowledge that we all have and really make a huge shift on this planet. So that's my little spiel of the history. And again,
that's what I love about you, Neil.
Thank you.
Love that you just said that. It's awesome.
Yeah.
In us, we can make this shift.
Yeah. It's all really like just one more thing, what Laura was saying about the divine union. One of my friends once told me that everybody thinks they're healed until they get in a relationship. Because you feel like you do that inner work, but then you're with that one person and then just bring it out of you, right? And that's why we need each other. It's so paradoxical. We're doing the inner work. We need to do that work ourselves, but the reflections externally from us gives us the catalyst that we need to have that deeper reflection on how to really work on ourselves. You know, go ahead, Alan.
Yeah. No, I was just going to pick up on that, Neil, because you and Laura, everyone else have hit some points about the hierogamos, the divine marriage, and the tour there, and the hill, which is a human-made hill, is the symbol of the stone penetrating the earth. It's a symbol of union. That tour goes into the earth. That stone goes down. It just doesn't rise up. So when you're in that field, it's the uniting of the earth mother and the stone sky father, or however you want to name that, into a symbolic, energetic representation of divine union that takes us into other dimensional realities. That's why you stand under the tour. You are transported. I didn't expect it when I first came up there. I said, oh, okay, I'll climb this hill. It looks very interesting. And, but it is an energetic portal right there. Lori talked about the difference between portals and stargates. I think it's a stargate as well as a portal. And I think it's energetically encoding our bodies, especially at this time, with the intention that we are bringing there to these fifth, sixth, seventh dimensional divine human realities that have been waiting for us to wake up. And we are at the threshold, and we're at such an exciting point in history. Yes, with the Lion Gate, with the August 16, 17 transformational dates. It's a moment of choice. And I think we can make a difference being at this Glastonbury event. So if you're watching this, come join us in Glastonbury for sure. Thank you.
And Alan, you're going to be presenting a little bit too, right? Do you want to, how about we
Yeah,
start
I'm going to
with
be,
you kind of sharing, and then Joan, whatever you want to offer, and then, then select the next person and we'll go all the way through.
yeah, I'm going to be sharing some of what I've been saying here, but I've been, my recent investigations have been about the interdimensional hypothesis, which used to be for ET realities. I mean, it's no longer the fact that these beings are coming from other planets. I mean, yes, I'm sure, but it's a dimensional shift. When they show up in your reality, it is not the same reality. The presence of these beings shifts our consciousness to expand into other possibilities. And how much can we let go of what we know and embrace the unknown is the challenge of meeting these ETs. And it's a challenge of meeting each other's higher self, looking at everyone with there was an exercise someone did. You turn to each other and say, I see you with the eyes of the Christ. That doesn't mean Jesus. That means the divine essence emanation. And I think this is an opportunity to be the interdimensional beings in an interdimensional Stargate portal and to feel the resonant frequencies that we are stepping into at this time. So I'm going to be showing some of those slides and some of those reminders of this moment of awakening. That's my hope. So that's what really I'm focused on in all my work, whether it's Contact in the Desert or wherever. And I also want to say, going to Glastonbury is a prelude to the trip me, Joan, and Neil are doing to Egypt just the following month. So it's a level of initiation there, and then going to the real, I think, center of Stargate initiations in Egypt that goes back to the beginning of human history. And that's why I'm really excited to gain the frequencies this place and these people, all the people that are coming, offer us all, and the people that will be joining us. It's not just about listening to people talk. It's about being in union with energetic harmony of what's possible for the earth. And that's exciting for me. So thank you.
Me too. And before you get in, John, let me just say, because Alan just mentioned Egypt. So we're sold out for Egypt this year. And if you guys are interested, we're going again November next year. Okay, so if any of you are interested in attending and joining us for our next Egypt tour, that's EgyptAscensionRetreat.com. Go ahead, John.
Well, okay, this is so exciting because, again, the energy is rising. Totally, like I can just feel it. And, you know, when a group of high frequency beings come together with the intention of not just, you know, not just healing ourselves, but healing the planet, we become a huge transformer, a huge radiant light grid that can positively send out the vibrations across the planet. And so as we go together, because we are a high frequency gathering of souls, not only the speakers, but the attendees together, will create a frequency that's literally going to open up even more stargates and even more portals, and open up the heart chakra so that more healing occurs. As we do that, everyone will feel that energetic upgrade. The way through the challenges we have on the planet is not through the physical, but it is through the spiritual. It is through our consciousness of holding that thought form, that image of the way we intend it to be, of the freedoms, of the love, of the kind of planet that we are stepping into. So we see that this event is beyond just an event. It will have ripples in the consciousness, ripples in the field, ripples everywhere. And it is such an honor to be with such beings as all of you and these high frequencies. It just makes my heart sing even louder. I don't know if you can hear it. And when my heart sings, I know that I'm aligned and that there is an alignment possible. So with Glastonbury in this event, there's an increase in hope for humanity, in the ascension of humanity. It opens up more of a doorway for us to step through. And so being here is just an honor, and being with all of you is just an honor. And you know what I'm going to speak on? They told me that when we first go to Glastonbury and before the event, they're going to tell me what I'm going to speak about. And that's okay with me because Spirit knows more than I do, and that's my guide. And each of you said something that was so powerful for me in the healing and transformation. And we're all doing this together. And so it is. So I'm going to say thank you to everyone. I just can't wait to see you. I just want to love on all of you. And I want to go up on the tour with you. I just want to hug everyone and have this hug that goes on forever and ever and ever, because we've been together. We were there together. We were probably in many places together, and it's exciting to reenact that. And so it is. All right, I'm going to turn the floor over to Laura Spagna. Your turn.
Well, thank you, Joan. So are we taking this last bit of time to do is there some specific thing we're supposed to be?
It's completely up to you, but I would love to end this with just what's relevant for now, you know. Just
let me say, I know what I was meant to share, because I always told what I meant to share. I actually, just like what Joan said, I really, almost everything I share ends up being like a channel in a sense, even though it's not a direct channel. I was meant to share a couple of things. First, I just want to agree. There are portals all over the world. There's a portal within our Sacred Heart Center. In a sense, we could say as well that, you can create portals in locations. And this is true. There are many portals in the Stargate area of Glastonbury, many portals. So the key is always, what kind of portal are you working with, and what's the energy like there, and how are you utilizing it? Are you working in harmony with it, or is it sort of putting you through like a washing machine where you're being on spin cycle and you don't know what's going on, right? So, or are you completely oblivious to it, which is what happens for, a lot of people who don't really understand. So, but what's amazing about being in a location like that really is that not only can you receive whatever you're meant to receive as a unique individual, when you go to a place like this with consciousness, choosing to align with what's for your most benevolent best, then you really can receive that. And that is true now more than ever on Earth, as we learn to utilize the real true power within us, the mastery. And the power that I'm speaking about, of course, as we understand it, is not about power over another. It is about power of the divine that is from within, that those gifts of the divine start to reveal themselves through us as we demonstrate who we are by acting in accordance with what I referred to earlier, which is the divine virtues. And by really becoming the highest fulfillment of who our soul wants and chooses to be in this lifetime. This is the thing I want to share that I was meant to bring through, is that what's going on now on planet Earth globally, whether we realize it or not, and this has been going on, it started to come through very early in the 60s. It's been squelched a lot. It started to amplify in the year 2011 and 2012 in terms of linear time. It really came up to the surface in 2020. We all know what was going on then. The real thing that's going on here is that the will of the divine is starting to supersede the will of the egoic structure that has been built into fourth dimensional consciousness, and that humanity has basically been controlled by. And so when we talk about the will of the divine, what we're really speaking about here is the desire for humans to consciously choose their experience. And the experience in this game of duality is quite simple. The experience, the choice that people are getting to choose between is to stay asleep or to continue to align with the dark and the dark agenda. And the dark agenda can be defined simply as the desire to control, dominate, or manipulate another, to benefit to the harm or detriment of another, to usurp the free will choice of another, which is definition of evil, whether a person realizes that or not. Ultimately, when we align with the divine, there is no evil. But in this reality, there is. The choice to attempt to control, dominate, or manipulate another, or usurp their free choice, or push one's will upon another by attempting to control, dominate, or manipulate them, whether it's even done by someone who is of the light, attempting to just say, I need to heal you. That is a use of power and control in the dark agenda. Right? Because we can think we're doing good. We cannot push our will on another. However, the will of the divine is for us to wake up and choose in a conscious way, to choose ideally the light, which is everything exposed, free will returned and restored, full and complete conscious consent, no overriding or usurping another's free will. This is how we transform, by becoming, and this is why summits like, Portals to Ascension hosts, and this experience in Glastonbury and others like this kind of an event is so important, because it restores one's consciousness to recognize, I did not know that was going on. I did not understand that. I did not realize that. I am more empowered now to make new free will choices. And I did not even realize how I might have been behaving in a way that was not aligned with the light, even as perhaps a healer, for example. And I'm going to share more of this, by the way, on the healing summit that we're doing this weekend. Neil, I'm excited about. So, and Joan, I know you'll be there. So I understand and recognize where we have attempted to usurp free will of another, even if we don't always realize the ways we do that. So the will of the divine is for free will choice, conscious free will choice, to be restored. And in so doing, in the process, we must become aware of the ways that has been taken away and or usurped and or attempted to be usurped, because in reality, it can never truly be taken away. And then to make new and better choices for ourselves and for one another that align more fully with the light, where everything is really truly aligned with integrity, where everything is truly aligned with conscious free will consent and choice. I want to say, on a personal level, I want to share, because so many of you have known me for so many years. I can only share my personal transformation that has taken place in a real, true, and valid way. And that what has transformed within me over the years is so beyond anything that I could ever imagine. Even when I go back to my original kind of dark night of the soul, when I spent 2 years in Maui, and it was the most excruciatingly painful period of my life, where, you know, if you want to go to the astrology, Pluto was going over my rising sign. That was just not very much fun. And I was going through so much transformation, and I called it a dark night of the soul. I didn't know it at the time. Of course, I had a first contact experience during that time. Of course, I had a near-death experience, multiples. I was so much transformation at such an extended, accelerated period of time. In 2 years, I was so radically transformed. And even that was 20 years ago. And since then, the transformation that has taken place by doing this kind of inner work is so radical. It's so beyond what we can measure. And the idea is really ascension. It's endless. So the endlessness of it is not that it's always shadow. It's that we become more and more our highest fulfillment, the highest fulfillment. When I say highest, it's a relative word, but the most pure divine source embodiment that we can be, that really brings about the soul's highest fulfillment. And when you're coming into that space, I can promise you, I can promise every one of you this, I know for sure, the darkness, shadow aspects of the game of duality get transmuted. And just as Alan was referring to, we are living in an entirely different, when this happens, we live in an entirely different personal holographic reality that is based on so much more of who we truly are, who we're truly meant to be. We do not have these aspects where we're in constant dissension, push, pull, you know, fight, flight, trauma, drama, you know, the need for some kind of dopamine high, whether it's coming from some kind of artificial drug, stimulant, alcohol, the need for some kind of sensationalism. It's not even based in that, it's based in true, real, authentic, foundational frequency. And that is ultimately, by the way, we're going through in the years of the 2020s, right? All these 2000s, by the way. In numerology, sacred numerology, we're talking about the duality that we've been experiencing and transmuting. So these years, especially the 2020s, are about us transmuting that kind of duality. And we're in 2023 at this moment in linear time. So for those of us choosing consciously to participate, this is an opportunity for radically accelerated growth, transformation, and internal change that allows us to reach our highest fulfillment. We must choose it. It will not be just handed over on a silver platter, but the obviousness will be continued to intensify. So when we are experiencing, if someone is experiencing, when someone is experiencing personal breakdown, that is because there is an opportunity for them to level up to the next higher, what we call octave. And that octave is where there is so much more purity, that they are no longer experiencing themselves in that old reality where they're having breakdown. And so as that breakdown is transmuted by more and more of us who are stepping more and more into alignment with the light, we transmute that breakdown. And of course, that's how we know the ripple effect and the 100th monkey effect happens. The whole of humanity as a whole does not have to choose to align with some source, whether they know it or understand it as a false sky god, some false, you know, whatever they attribute to an external god, or if they awaken it within themselves. They do not necessarily have to choose that. However, in order for this shift to really foundationally affect the collective the way we are desiring it to, so that what you spoke about earlier, Neil, the whole of humanity can benefit, that no longer do they have to be in such extreme degrees of various kinds of suffering, some or another, is so that in order for that to happen, enough of us have to truly choose to align with the divinity and to awaken that aspect of us within us, and to really achieve, to align with and to continually align with our highest fulfillment, our soul's highest fulfillment, of the purest aspects of who we are. And again, this is what I'm saying, this transformation I have witnessed in myself experientially, and now I share it with others in my sacred mentorships. And it is incredible, the transformational change that people are having at such an accelerated rate, where their lives are changing for the better. Everything in their external outcome, their external experience, is responding to their internal change. And so these changes that they're having personally to improve the quality of their life, improve their personal self-love, self-worth, self-value, self-confidence, inner gnosis, the knowing. That is what we're talking about here. That is what real, to me, real ascension is, because we get to align with that part of ourselves. It's available to us now. It is amplified, especially during these years of the 2020s. So it's such a tremendous opportunity. And this is when really we get to learn about it and provide that safe space for ourselves in an environment where others are doing this, such as this Glastonbury event and the other Portal to Ascension events. So that is what I'm sharing today. I just know this on a personal level, it has changed me by doing this work so much. And I've witnessed the people in my inner circles who are going through such incredible transformational change at such an accelerated pace, and their lives are improving so dramatically, so amazingly. This stuff is real. It's real. And we do need to choose it in a conscious way, and then actually engage with these new energies and this new consciousness, this new inner work in a whole new way. One last piece. If we talk about engaging and interacting with extraterrestrials, or if we talk about engaging or interacting through portals or aligning through stargates, we can talk about it. I would like for people to ask yourselves, the people who are listening, do you know how to do it? Can you bring it upon for yourself? Can you share it with others in a real way, in your circles, in your communities? If you feel called to, if you're listening, some part of you must feel called to. If you know how to do it for yourself in a moment, you have achieved a level of mastery that allows you to be part of the people on earth who are transforming the collective, the whole of humanity for the better. That's what I'm so interested in, transforming the whole of humanity through their free will choice to recognize there's something so much better for them that awaits. So if you know how to do that and you're working on that internal mastery, it's available to you. This is a kind of place where you can learn how to do it. Hope that's helpful.
Definitely helpful, Lori. Thank you. Viviane, let's Zoe and Laura aren't here anymore, so we're gonna close out with you, Viviane. You want to share whatever is relevant for you, and then I'll close out the event for today.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Neil. Again, thank you, Joan and Alan, for this opportunity. And Lori, thank you for this wonderful sharing, very uplifting. Looking forward to be with everyone. I've been doing this work from a public perspective for over 11 years already. And over the many, many years, working with thousands of people worldwide, what I've seen is a clear desire for people to shift level of living. So it's pretty much of a choice. And I always says it start simple in your life on practical ways to implement this conscious choice of shifting. You always ask yourself, what part of myself is more motivated? What part of myself do I listen the most to? Is it the wounded child in me that is taking over? Is it an aspect of the past, an event that create a barrier? What aspect of myself is predominant today? So whenever an emotion arises, a mental energy, a thought form, a behavior, ask yourself, where am I today? And the today is the nucleus of the future, because we know that the future is the unfolding of the now, unfolding into itself. So it really is bring yourself back right here, right now. Where are you? Are you focused? Are you distracted? Are you emotionally overcharged? Take the time to balance yourself. Go outside in nature, trees, mountain, by a lake. It can be just outside of your house, even though you live in the city. Take the time to feel, bring yourself back into that point of anchoring. There will be so much more. Well, I feel that today, so many very inspirational insight has been given. So come and discover more. But for now, let's take a deep breath. You're here, you're now. Breathe, reset. I choose again. Energically, let's just reset ourselves. I'm here now. And just for today, like the Reiki Sacred Man principle, just for today, I choose to stay the best who I can be. Just for today, I choose to serve the light, to be an anchor for the light. Show me the way. I am ready now. So let's just bring that for today, and there will be so much more revealed. So take the time to breathe, right? I can see Neil going, yep. And Alan go, deep breath, Joan, Lori, like, yes, we are.
Thank you, Viviane.
Welcome.
Beautiful. All right, everybody, we're going to close out now. And I'm going to close out with a poem because, not only because I love doing poetry, but because that's what my share is going to be at the conference. I'm going to close it out with my first official set on poetry. It's going to be like a 30-40 minute thing. I'll talk about the ancient history of the Druidic people, 10-minute kind of history. And then I'm going to go into my first spoken word album that will be produced in 2 weeks. And that's going to be with music in the background and then me speaking on top of it. So this poem right here, I thought was in perfect alignment. And as we were speaking, I changed the poem to be relevant to the Celtic and the Druidic people. So it's like, it's become a whole new poem just over the last hour. And it's called Secret History. So after this, we'll close out. So I just want to say, because to everybody here tuning in, thank you so much for tuning into this panel here. If you want to come to the conference, you know, it's going to be an amazing event, as you've heard of this panel, and you can check out our last 2 panels that we did as well. AscensionGlastonbury.com. Okay, AscensionGlastonbury.com. If you can't attend live in person, you can check out the live stream and tune in that way, tap into the energy that way. Let's get as much people as possible really into this, because as we come together in numbers, we share that collective frequency and that intention, and we can really make some changes in the world and in consciousness. So check out the live stream there. And as always, you get unlimited replay access on that. All right, so here we go. Secret History. It's the perception of mind, intertwined with the channeled find, of adolescent redefined ancient knowledge of how, why we exist in a matrix-like. Environment has become delusional, confused by all my thoughts, manifesting energy in stargates that exist within your own mentality. That is hard for some to believe. Close your eyes and you will see. Vibrations of elemental beings, the cosmic chronicles of rules and laws. You will find meaning for a truer cause. Mind over matter, ancient druid, matter over mind. We give meaning to objects in materialistic ways, so we no longer embrace our internal world. Look within and realize on the highest level, there is no good or evil. Did you hear the call? And incarnate down the rabbit hole and free fall? Just to spread knowledge to all, do not convince, only guide the spirits with angelic intentions. We realize the nature of reality. You will be mentioned in the earth's past eulogy. Gases that we cannot breathe, ancient artistic Celtic interpretation of people and trees, becoming the gods that some now question. It's the only life lesson. Welcome to the revolution, the portal to ascension. Love you all so much. Thank you, Viviane, Lori, Alan, Joan. Okay, bye everybody. See y'all soon.
Thank you, everybody. Beautiful. Yes.